does not fox smash my door.
Come on, Charles, don't do this.
Is that a bad word?
Christina Aguilera, hi. The eggs at the end.
You fucking look like rock stars, huh? And now we are a fucking bunch of wanko.
Michael, this is Toto. Can I just send you an email? No, Michael, that was so not right.
Sorry, we went car racing.
I have been listening, and what I'll say is just struggling in general. I'm a fan of the show, the first two shows. I've listened to them both. I've got some constructive criticism. Well, actually, it's not constructive. That's the worst 30 minutes of this podcast so far.
24 minutes, actually.
24 minutes. That was terrible. So it's either going to get a lot worse now, or it's going to get a little bit better. I'm not sure.
I think what we might need to do is when we edit this podcast, can we do this? Because I think it's going to take off now. Yeah. Right, so Ben, this is an idea, and this has never been done in podcast before. Can we take the second half of the show, put it at the start of the show, so that it starts off with a bang, tails off at the end? Because I feel like people would have checked out. So from the moment we brought James in, that's when the podcast started, and then we'll do this was the first bit of the show that didn't work out.
What, the bit where I just slagged off the first half of the show? How are you going to put that at the start?
Yeah, and then people will be like, why was it so bad?
Right, yeah.
And they'll go, I need to find out why it was so bad. Yeah, I've got to stay to find out why it was so shit. Okay. So welcome to
thanks.
3 Pre.
But on the plus side, what I will say is there's obviously, Brad sort of touched on it at the start, there is a bit of camaraderie you guys have got now. Because when I was thinking of quizzes or like games we could play, Brad said I came up with a game called Boyd or Bullshit. And it had nothing to do with F1. And I was just going to say things Boyd said or done since I've known him, and you were going to say true or false or whatever. Brad said no. And he said you didn't want to scare Boyd off like he's trying to domesticate some sort of stray cat. And I wasn't allowed to do it.
I was like, with F1, mate. It's not.
I know. I just didn't have any ideas. But anyway, I've got an idea. I said
to you, like what, James? And you said there was something to do with a phone wrapped in a towel under a bed or something, Boyd. Yeah,
but this is part of it. So there's a lot of things. No.
Mate,
so this was part of it.
Change the show to fucking Boyd over.
Or
something.
I started doing it. And I thought this is going to ruin Boyd's life if I do it. So anyway, right. So I've got a question before we start.
So nervous.
I'm not going to do it, Boyd. Don't worry, it's fine. This is nothing to do with either. So my first question is: Do you guys know who Ayrton Senna is?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Yeah. Just checking, because Drive to Survive is obviously the main reference of this show, and I just wanted to check you knew who he was. Good. Yeah. Do you know who the Kardashians are?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, I know who they are.
More specifically, do you know who the Jenners are?
I'm sensing a good name coming up.
Yeah, so it's Senna or Jenna. So all I really did is I took the word Senna and I was like, what rhymes with it? And I did a bunch of, and Jenna came up. So that was the foundation of how the game was born. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read out, and this is kind of, I've copied Brad a little bit. I'm going to read out some quotes.
Hold on a minute.
This is Brad's game, but
you've come on the guest as a show to revamp games, and you've taken my game.
It's the same game.
Every
week,
better versions of the
game. He's just got a good title.
I just took his idea and done it better.
No, but there was no bonus questions in Brad's game. I've got bonus questions, so it is a little bit different.
There is. There's a 1,000,000 point question.
He doesn't listen to the show. All right.
Right. Okay.
Let's go.
So, in case you hadn't guessed, I'm going to read out some quotes, and you've got to guess if it's a quote by Ayrton Senna or either Chris, Kylie, Caitlin, or Kendall Jenner. But you can just say it's a Jenner.
So hang on, how's this working? You're going to read it out, and then you're going to come
Jesus, it's the same. You did the game, apparently. You've already done it, so you must know the rules.
Yeah, we know the rules.
Yeah, we all say, and then we get...
Right.
What's the point?
You don't get anything, because you're doing the scores. It's between Ben and Boyd.
Surely I want Brad in on this. He never plays
the
game, so he can...
Because then you've got to do it every week, and it will mess it all up. It's to give Brad a break.
So far, Ben's won both, haven't you, Ben?
He's 2-0 up.
Okay.
Boyd's getting
there's a couple of...
There's
a couple of bonus questions. There's a few. Don't worry, I'll go through it. And there's a couple of bonus questions, and it'll be obvious when it's a bonus question. Right, let's start, because we're overcomplicating this already. Okay, the first quote is, if you have God on your side, everything becomes clear.
Senna. It's Senna.
No, I'm going to go Caitlin.
You can just say Jenna.
1-0 to Bet. You don't have to say Caitlin. You just say Jenna. But you're wrong. Ben's right.
Fuck's sake.
1-0.
Is it 20 points? 20 points, or is it
20 points?
We'll use the same score system we used in my game.
I'll just wait till the bonus round.
Next one.
Okay.
Yeah, what, I lose again?
I believe in God and the power of prayer.
Jenna.
For fuck's sake. I think Ben's right. I'm just going to draw, but I'm going to go Jenna.
Yeah, you both get a point. Chris Jenner said that.
At least I'm staying close.
Yes, Chris. She loves Jesus. Jesus.
Yep. Question 3, or quote 3. I have no idols. I admire work, dedication, and competence.
Jenna.
I don't know. That could be a Jenna, but it could be a Senna.
Wait, it sounds like Toto Wolff. Sure, you've not confused it with previous games. That's the Toto Wolff quote.
I'm just going to say Senna.
Boyd?
I've said Jenna.
All right, you're wrong again. Ben won. It was Ayrton Senna.
Fucking hell.
60.
Fuck's sake, Ben.
We'll find out the scores at the end. Right.
Wow.
You ready?
Yeah.
What people say isn't going to stop me. I have to do things for myself.
I'm going
Senna.
Jenna. It's got to be. It's like betting on red
Senna.
or black down a casino. I'm just going to keep
It's
going.
Senna.
Jenna.
Boyd's got a point.
Come on, 60-40, you mug. I'm back. P1. P2,
Right.
mate.
So this
P2.
one's a bonus question. So this will be obvious who said it. But you have to be more specific in terms of which Jenna you think.
How many
said
points do you get for the bonus point?
Whatever you guys, 100 points. Doesn't really seem to matter, does it? Like 1,000 points. Right.
1,000 points.
Okay.
No, that's
here's the
ridiculous,
quote.
though. Just keep it to the 20s and see what happens.
Well, it's a bonus question. It's got to be worth more. Right. Here's the quote. Here's a quote.
To draw.
I feel like every year has a new energy, and I feel like this year is really about like the year of realizing stuff. Everyone around me, we're all just realizing stuff. Is that Chris?
Do we know what specific year they were talking about?
It's just every year, mate.
Probably the last 5 years, I'd imagine. Doesn't matter, does it? Chris, Kylie, Caitlin, or Kendall?
I'm going to say Kylie.
Chris.
Ben nailed it. It was Kylie Jenner.
Fucking hell.
Well, she's the thickest one. So
Such a good... Get her on here.
Right.
Get her on the games with me.
So I can announce the points. Ben has 1,060 points.
Wow.
And Boyd has 40 points.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's 3-0.
That's bad.
So you got to do something now, Boyd. You got to make some moves. You got to make some moves.
You're going to get gunged. And one of us has got organised gunging of
I
some
need to
sort.
push, mate. Push.
Okay.
Push.
Right. Next question. Next quote. Ready?
Oh, wait, it's still going.
They're still going. We're normally only... Okay, we're stuck
right,
in our ways. There's more one bonus point. Go for it. No, go for
There's
it.
2 more questions. There's one question and one more bonus question.
perfect.
Right, I'll cut it a
Yeah,
bit short because I did have some more. Right.
So, Boyd, you could draw if you get this one and the bonus.
Yeah, I'm not giving up, mate. Every point's...
Never give up.
Okay. In many ways, we are a dream to people, not a reality.
Is this one of the Kardashians again?
No, this is either Ayrton Senna or Jenna. A Senna or a Jenna.
Repeat the question, please, James.
In many ways, we are a dream to people, not a reality.
I think Senna. I think it's too profound to be a Jenna.
I feel like I've just got to go
I'm sort of
Jenna
joining
now,
in,
because
but
I've got a gain every week. I have to try and make some ground up on you, like in the
I think
constructors. I'm going to go Jenna then, because I need to make some ground up.
It's Senna.
Oh, for fuck's sake! This is fucking hell.
It couldn't be a Jenna. There's no way that could be a Jenna.
I just went different to try and make some ground up. All right.
You lost more. You're further away now.
Mate, they've got the bonus question coming up. Don't worry.
Right.
Yeah, but
Now you got
that's-
one more question, then a bonus question. So you've got to get this right. You've got to get the bonus question right, Boyd. That's what you got to do because it's worth 1,000 points.
Hold on. I stopped counting. Who got that one right?
Me.
Ben.
No, I did.
That's what I said.
Is
Ben.
that for
20 down to
1,000?
me,
Is
yeah.
that for 1,000 points again?
No.
No, that was just for 20 points for me.
No, that's not the
Boyd
bonus
did not
question. The
get
bonus
that.
question
Boyd
is
did not
1,000
get any
points.
points.
So have we not done the 1,000? Oh,
We have, yeah.
There's one more. There's one
He's
more.
falling asleep on the podcast.
Come on.
Think, McFly.
Right. This is a Jenna or a Senna. I always felt that my greatest asset was not my physicality, it was my mental ability.
Jenna.
Yeah, Jenna.
Yeah, it's Caitlyn Jenner. Correct. Boyd got a point. Right, last quote. Boyd, you've got to get this one right.
If I get this right and he gets it wrong, I've won. All right.
How is that?
Well,
just to make it interesting, because you've won the last 2 in a row.
You've got 1,100 points though.
People want to see me win something, all right?
Yeah, but Ben, you don't know how many points this could be worth. This could be worth 1,100 points.
Whatever you've got, it's worth 1 point more. All right.
I don't think you should do games anymore. You spend too long talking about the points and doing the games.
The points is what matters.
And the name matters.
Right, last one. Costco is a passion. Costco is like a massage. Right, so which Jenna said that? Because Ayrton Senna didn't say that.
Kendall Jenner.
I don't even understand that as a sentence.
Exactly.
Can you say that again?
Kendall Jenner.
Costco is a passion. So I'm saying, I guess they're saying going to Costco is a passion of theirs. And going is like having a massage.
Kendall. That was Kendall Jenner, I reckon.
I'll go Kylie then, just to go different.
You're both wrong. It's Kris Jenner.
Ben, you prick. 3 straight wins. Oh, it's embarrassing.
I can't wait to
the champion of pointless F1 games.
He's
Congratulations, Ben.
the title here, isn't he? The championship's just.
You're going to get gunged. That's all that's going to happen. We're going to
Timmy Mallett's mallet.
I need the break, mate. That's what I need.
I'm going to have to
tell you what,
researching gunge companies soon.
You know, we were talking about Pat Sharp's Funhouse last week, and we were talking about the twins.
Yeah.
So I did Google them after the show.
Still fit.
And
no, they're not. They were
they were. In fairness, let's not be. They looked all right, and considering how much time has passed. But the thing that actually shocks me the most about Googling that was A, how young Pat Sharp looks right now, and B, how completely mental his hair was. It was so mental. Like, look at his hair when we were watching Funhouse.
Lassie, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it's absurd. But now he's not got that hair. He looks 10 years younger than he did in 1986.
He went on Celebrity Get Me Out of Here as well. Did you ever watch that one? He went on there.
His hair was insane. He looked like an Alsatian.
Mate, imagine him putting a Formula 1 helmet on with that hair. It'd still be coming out the bottom, wouldn't it? Just like down here, these like lashes
It'd
coming
be blowing
down.
in the wind on the straights on the DRS. It'd just be flicking out the back, wouldn't it? Like a little fucking...
The hair's caught in the DRS.
And here comes Sharp, and he's got some ultimate pace.
He didn't need the halo. He's got his hair.
Yeah.
When did
to be
DRS
fair, Ben, if
actually
you growed your hair for another month, Ben, you'd
growed your hair.
Growed it.
I've
Growed
more
it.
than a month. DRS just came.
Sorry, am I still sticking around here? I've got to go.
Yeah, you're sticking out. You're sticking
all right,
out.
we need you. We need you. On
you're joining the debate.
All right,
joining the debate. We're gonna have to edit this one and put like. Can you put a laughter track on, Ben?
I'm sure I can find a laughter track.
Yeah, find a laughter
can this
track.
Be
drop that in.
Hashtag worst one yet.
Oh wait.
Yeah, this will be like the ebb. Is that right? Ebb and flows. Which one's the low point? I don't know.
Look, it's not that bad. People will still listen to this background noise when they're clearing up at home.
No, I think we can solve this. The second half of the podcast goes at the start, and then the second bit has a laughter track on it. You put that in, it will fool people like when they watch sitcoms and they laugh along, but they don't understand what the joke was.
Yeah.
So the final bit of the show is the great debate, which has it's been really popular with our listeners with the feedback I've been getting. Obviously, week 1 we discussed about you guys racing a Formula 1 car. Last week we discussed about our ideas that would go into Formula 1. And this week, I'm going to put an idea out there and I think we should just discuss it. So, as you know, all my Formula 1 knowledge pretty much comes from Drive to Survive and I'm watching it again. And the first time round, I saw Gunther Steiner as the underdog and really the protagonist of Drive to Survive. And then the second time watching round, I saw a different side to him. So do you remember Karate Kid when someone put that YouTube video out where it showed Daniel-san and how...
Daniel LaRusso.
Daniel-san. When they showed him through a different lens and you realise actually he was being a bit of a shithead the first time round, but because the music's bad, when you hear everyone else, you think they're the bad guy. Yeah. When he was worming on...
Yeah. Johnny's
bird. Yeah. He wasn't being particularly like... Anyway, so you see this through the different lens. So then now I've watched Drive to Survive. I sort of think Gunther Steiner is a bit of a toxic boss and is actually a bit of a little schneid because... So I was watching it and then I thought to myself, all he ever does is blame other people. He's the boss, right? He chose the drivers. So, and then he slags them off. he's constantly warming up to Gene Haas. And then I was watching the one where they were showing the new car, and he said to is it Kevin Magnussen? He said, "Oh, you live quite close to here, don't you?" And he goes, "Yeah, it's about 2 miles away." And Kevin Magnussen, he said, Gummerstein says to Kevin Magnussen, "You could like walk home for a bit of fitness, couldn't you?" And he went, "Yeah, I'm not going to." And he just went, "Yeah, you probably should," and just walked off.
A bit evil, isn't he, really?
And then, like, imagine if someone worked for you and you got 2 people in a room and just shouted at them like he did there, and calling them like fucking wankers or whatever. So the pitch is Gunther Steiner a hero or a toxic boss? Boyd.
Well, now you've said that, because I've just rewatched one as well, and I have seen him complaining quite a lot behind the scenes. So yeah, maybe he's a bit of a toxic rat, to be fair. But I still like him though. He's still one of my most favourite,
rat.
Is that just because he's the best person to do impressions?
His hair, Brad. Have you noticed as well? His hair, some of his hair in it as well. It just is so bad.
Yeah.
It's like
What's funny is he obviously had his hair cut mid them filming it because it keeps cutting back.
and his hair as well. It doesn't grow up. It grows like outwards like a bush like that, and it's just terrible. Like it gets worse and worse, and he doesn't feed his drivers as well. It's another out of order thing.
Yeah, that bit when he
like when he says that, like imagine in the corporate world saying that to someone
he hasn't
who
wasn't
wasn't
there,
there,
so he doesn't get any dinner.
Yeah, who in fairness was saying he had mental health issues. Right, he was saying he struggled a lot and he was having a hard time, and then he doesn't turn up to the event, and then you just go, "No, sorry, he doesn't get any food because he doesn't get any points." Like, imagine saying that about someone who's in your workplace. Just wouldn't fly, would it?
No.
But I think his
sure
problem
you
to me
worse.
is that he seems to be one of the he forget. I think he forgets there's microphones a lot of the time, and he says a lot of stuff. Well, obviously that clip in particular, he clearly forgot for about 30 seconds that he was being filmed.
Away, didn't he?
He backtracked and said, "Oh, don't worry, don't go run into him. I'm going to tell him tomorrow." I guess the question would be, did he tell him tomorrow? Because if he didn't, then that's
no. I 100% think no one told him.
Oh, I bet they did.
Drive to Survive came out, and then some people were like, "Do you know he was proper mugging you off at that dinner?"
Do you know what's funny as well?
I meant to tell you. I know it's out there now. I was going to tell you, but I forgot.
When that energy company pulled out as well, Brad, there was all them phones. He goes, no more fucking interviews. He was getting really bored. He goes, "That's it. I've had enough now." He was going mental. Like he was getting so annoyed.
But he's surprisingly assertive, though, isn't he? For someone who's like, he's quite lovable and silly, but at the same time, there's some clips where he's like, "I'm not fucking dealing with this." Like attitude from you kind of thing. And you go, "Oh, right. Yeah, I
think he's a good leader. I think maybe the dinner probably wasn't his best moment, but he's pretty like straight talking, and he tells everyone how he's thinking. Like when Grosjean goes up to him and goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know what happened." He goes, "Well, it's," he goes, "I don't want to hear it. Just go away. This is like the 20th time you've crashed a £20 million car into a wall."
When he says to Grosjean as well, they're both standing there and he goes, "I need someone to fucking put all the blame on, don't I?" And he he proper gains him off sort of thing.
He definitely says something crazy to him when he's burnt, like he's got his burnt hand. I remember him saying something really weird to him then. I can't recall, but he's just like a bit
dig still, wasn't it?
It was a kind of dig, like your hand's burnt or something. It was something weird like that. But he's an odd character. I think a lot of the time he doesn't realise or forgets he's being filmed.
He goes, "This isn't the stuff you see normally. This is what you see in films," or something.
I suppose I suppose if most bosses were mic'd up and...
Can you find out who the driver was? I need to thank the driver for getting him out so quickly. But maybe to sum it up, probably an evil person then, really.
Still evil person? Gone straight with it.
He's a rat and then he's evil.
I was going to say, like, he's... I think he's
just trying to... call him a bit of a snake.
A little snake in the grass.
I don't think he is. I think he's just very outspoken, and he's feisty Italian, isn't he? So,
is he Italian?
I think he's Italian.
He's Austrian.
Here we go. Correction section for next week. Here we go.
I think he's from Austria, but I think he lives.
Yeah, he's Italian. Yeah, he's Italian American.
What?
Yep, he's Italian. So I was right.
Yay!
I thought he lived on the section.
Add another point on. Yes,
that's Italian.
He's Italian, baby.
Yeah, no, he is. Yeah, but I thought he lives in Austria on the border of Italy. I think.
He's good friends with Toto Wolff, isn't he? Very good friends. But yeah, he was a driver as well, so
If you were going to put all the principals in their cars, right, who would win? So
Toto.
Christian, you reckon Toto in the Mercedes?
Yeah, Toto he's in the Mercedes. He's just gonna win it. Like you put Christian Horner in it, he's just gonna go. Ooh.
Can I put? Can I put Zac Brown? Can I put Zac Brown in there?
Of course, all of them.
Yeah,
all of them are in the car.
About to say what you.
Well,
they've got to be a certain height and weight, right?
And he's not the team principal, is he?
He's a CEO, but he plays in Drive to Survive. He plays the character of the team principal.
He does, yeah, that's true.
So have we got any more content left, or is this going down as the worst episode?
I like that question.
I think the fact we've slagged this episode off so much.
It's the same question. Is like, would a team principal be able to drive a car? It's the same question of would a normal person be able to drive a car, which we actually found out they could.
No, because they're around it all the time. Yeah, what do you mean we found out they could?
Well, the videos that I sent of that actual question, can a normal person drive an F1 car? And there's some videos on YouTube of people doing just that. Or did you not watch
to
him?
be fair, Brad, if you just watch Drive season 1, there's one where Hamilton's not feeling very well. Have you seen it? And he spins off, and it's a bit of a disaster, like the whole thing. And Toto goes in, and he goes like, "I don't know how to drive the cars, and I don't know what else to do, but I try and get involved." So like, he's not got a clue either. You'd think they might be able to drive the cars, like Christian Horner's like, but they haven't got a fucking clue. So
surely, if you were a team principal and you were around those cars all the time, you'd go,
probably.
Let's have a go.
Yeah, but I just generally don't think they can. He just goes and
so
looks at the data.
There was a video, James. You're saying there was a video where
so there's 2 really good videos on YouTube. Actually, might be 3 out, and I sent them all to you. So thanks for watching those.
Put them in the show notes, Ben.
And I sent them to Ben, and I sent them to Boyd. So it's they're driving on the track in France. You can pay, I think it's like €10,000 to drive an F1 car, right? Not like the F1 car body with a different, motor underneath. It's the full F1 car, and it's the whole day is managed by Alpine, I think. And basically, with a very small amount of training, you can get in and drive it. The thing that's the struggle, what all these guys were saying is, it's the braking and the acceleration and the G-force and what that does to your neck and your upper body. Like, that's super difficult to manage and maintain as you're doing it. But they were whizzing around like, I mean, the guys were, one of them was nearly crying at the end because he was so emotional about the chance to do it. But it seems I was wrong. I said that we would blow up on the first turn, but I think we might be right. But if you're saying, would you win a race or like finish, you wouldn't.
You get round the track.
You'd be last. You'd definitely be last.
Someone told me years ago, right? And I started Googling this, but I'm just going to put it out there, and I'm not going to fact check it at all. So between this time next week, we can correct whether this is true.
To this podcast.
Right. So someone told me that there's a group of people that buy old F1 cars, right? And they like not old, like 2-3 year old Formula 1 cars. And they follow the Grand Prix around and almost have like, like people do battle reenactments. They do like their own version of the F1, but they're just like numpty millionaires that bought the old cars. I haven't checked that. But even if that isn't true, that's fucking brilliant.
What?
And it should
actual racing proper.
Like, I won't say the name, Boyd, in case he listens, but the guy you used to know had a load of money, right? We won't mention him, right? If he was given an opportunity to buy an F1 car and fly out to Monaco and do a Monaco race a day before they arrive, he'd have done it.
Well, he did have one, mate. He bought it, I told you, in his garage.
You can
know about this story? Oh, I told you, didn't I? He bought an F1. It was a Formula 2. Actually, it might have been a Formula 2 car. Tried to jump start it down the road. Didn't work, so just pushed it into a bush and left it. What? He bought an F2 car. He came out in all of the sort of like the gear, like giving it the big one. Me and one of my mates went, we'll push him down the road to see if we can start it. I generally don't even think it had a fucking engine in it. He just rolled down the road into like a bush and then just left it there.
So somewhere in Brentwood or Stock area of Essex, there's probably a Formula 2 car in a bush
there's
still.
An F2 car,
It's probably gone now, right?
Well, I don't know. He lived in the middle of nowhere.
You can currently buy the 2022 Alfa Romeo F1 Team C42 official show car. You can buy the David Coulthard's 1997 McLaren MP412 official show car with 1998 livery. You can buy the 1990 Leighton House CG 901 race car. It's won 7 World Constructors Championships.
What are we talking prices on these, Ben?
It just says price on a POA. So,
well, I've actually done some research in that 5 seconds while you were listing cars, and I've actually got some cars and how much they cost. So Lewis Hamilton's McLaren MP4-25A sold for 5.7 million.
Wow.
Schumacher's Ferrari F300 4.9 million. That was sold this year. So you can buy F1 cars, and you can leave them in a bush at the bottom of your garden.
Really?
Well,
I want to know about this rich knobheads that are racing them around. Though I want to go to that race. That for me would be more interesting than spending a day at the actual Formula One watching rich knobheads crash their cars.
Well, I've got a stat as well. I've actually
film it. You mean?
Yeah, like that. That's the podcast. A live podcast at one of those days. And we just get them once they crash.
It's set up like a real race, but it's just rich numpties who have no skill in driving whatsoever, who are definitely going to crash.
And then we interview them after they've crashed, or before.
But it sort of does happen on the Nürburgring
before they've crashed.
Before they've crashed, and then after they've crashed. So we get the bravado and that, and then they're like, "Oh, I've just crashed my car," that kind of thing.
That does happen on the Nürburgring quite a lot, though, doesn't it? There's some really good videos on YouTube of people just crashing cars.
Guys, quick quiz question. What is the quickest ever pit stop in Formula One?
Like 2.2? Or 1.8?
1 point. I was about to say that. I'm going to go 1.6.
Brad, don't Google it.
Just a number, 2. Literally, you guys would just say numbers.
Ben wins 1.82 seconds, Max Verstappen. That's fucking quick.
That is quick. That's totally off subject, but that's fine.
Well, mate,
how
good is your news?
Derailed that.
What's
the third quiz of the show?
Do you reckon they've got pit teams?
Well, no, that's what someone told me. Was they have a mock version of the F1, and it's probably not. This is like someone probably told me this before everyone used the internet all the time, so it's just a good lie. But if it's true, it's incredible, and I want to see it. Like I watched about 20 seconds of the Formula E at the weekend in Korea, and it literally looked like supercars. It looks so shit, and I wanted to come on and go, I watched Formula E and it was actually really good because they don't make any sounds. When they go off, it just goes and the track was next to a road in Seoul, and it just literally looked like they'd gone down supercars and they had these Formula E cars, and I watched it and I was like, this is so underwhelming.
They're doing it in London.
I wanted to, when you want to like it.
They're doing it in London. I think it's in it's like next month or something, isn't it? Or is it now?
It's on the 31st.
All right.
July the 31st. Yeah, we were away. I'm just looking up. I just googled rich people racing F1 cars. No, it's not come up with anything.
Well, we'll do this in the correction section next week. I'll see what I can find that might have been the seed that created this amount of bullshit.
I'll be totally up for watching that and go into that. Just go like working out what day they're at a track.
Yeah, we need a deeper dive on that, Brad.
And we'll just show up with the microphones and just go, oh ha ha, look at them.
So I think what we're going to wrap the show up now, I think. But what I'm going to say is, because when
you're going to introduce part 1 now,
I'm going to introduce part 1 now, and I'm just going to put it out there that if you've listened to these in chronological order and you're disappointed with this episode, we'll assure you that next week we'll do more prep. So what you're about to hear now is the first half of the show that was pretty boring. Enjoy.
Also, before you do that, make sure you like, subscribe, review it, but don't review the next bit you're going to listen to. Review the better bit that just happened.
Hang on a minute. If you edit it, the first half of the show is going to be the quiz, which wasn't the boring bit.
Exactly. So you're
going to start out the quiz.
I'm saying now is when before they go and start listening to part 1, which is going to happen after we finish talking now.
Right.
Rate the podcast now before you press play.
Back to the Future, innit? Going back to 1985. Strange how it goes. Brad's disappearing, like in that photograph. You've got to get it back, mate. No, look, it was a bit of a flaky one today, but they're never going to run that smooth. They're not going to be the same every week, are they? So
next week's going to be a blinder. I'm going to do so much prep.
You need to give people homework, Brad. You just got to someone's got to take charge of this and say.
Do you know what it was? I think what it was is we started off. We were really excited. We'd just come back from Ibiza. We were like, we're gonna make the world's #1 Formula One podcast. And then we were riding high on that. Went into second week. We had loads of ideas. All week we messaged each other like, what about this? What about this? This week not spoken at all. And we just went. And then Ben said today, he was like, boy was like, are we still doing the podcast tonight? And he was like, every Monday, Boyd. Every Monday.
Yeah,
He was so strict.
I had to message and go, is this still on tonight? It's not good.
To be fair, I was putting in the group like, should we do this? Should we do this? And they were just being ignored.
I didn't even think it was on. It was like a late arrival. I was like,
is your dinner still cooking? Is it?
I had a cup of tea and I thought, is this on or what? The fact I had to say that is, the prep.
Thank you for listening to part 2 of this 2-part podcast. Part 1 is about to start now.
Hi guys, it's week 3 of our podcast. 3 the Formula One fun podcast with my hosts, Ben Mills, Brad Keenan, and obviously myself, B. Moore. We've got a little special guest coming on tonight as well, so stay tuned.
Mate,
that was ridiculous.
So try hard.
Look, we've got to try and time it one week.
Do my podcast.
Right.
I think Boyd practiced that a week. He was thinking, right, we're going to episode 3. It's going to get serious.
Yeah.
I'm going to lead it. I'm going to make it my podcast. I'm going to be the one that does the intro, and then I'll welcome people on. Does no prep during the week. Literally zero prep. Just turns up. Part of the
takes my role,
all the credit.
Yeah, 100%. Mate, that's all I get the intro. Then you two just take over and I just chip in as and when I can.
I was a bit nervous about this one, to be honest, all week.
Because you've had feedback. Because you've had feedback on.
No, not feedback. We had that positive feedback that we sent to Boyd, and he was like, "God, that's a bit scathing, isn't it?" And all it was compliments. So it was like, "How have you filtered out the compliments we got?" And it turned into criticism. I just felt like we might have blown all our beans in the first 2 episodes. I'm not sure if I've got anything funny left to say.
No, we're out. That's it, mate. It's only a little, like on sort of Channel 4, you get like just a 5 episode. That's it. There goes any continuing. No, that's it. It's just 5 straight done.
Like Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, get 1 series.
Yeah.
Well, exactly we'll see if this one's funny. If this one isn't funny, I might just bail.
Boys, I've got a bit of news this week though.
Have you?
Is it Formula 1 news?
It's sort of related. I've finally getting my PlayStation 5, and guess what game I'm going to be downloading first? F1 22. So I can now.
You already had your PlayStation.
Yeah, you said
no.
You
So
had it.
there's been a bit of a delay on it. So now I have. Well, I'm getting it this week. There was still another delay, little glitch.
What was the glitch?
But once I get the game, I thought we could all
check out,
race each other and sort of do some little competitions.
Today was playing Formula 1 for the first time in 2 weeks, and our Twitch channel, as I changed the name of it to our podcast, has got raided by WTF1 official, and there's like 600 people watching me crawl around the track in Barcelona. Like about
I literally don't understand anything of what you just said.
Twitch, Brad,
I know what Twitch is.
It's an internet streaming platform. We got raided by a.
Wait, what does that mean?
Like when they all come from one channel, when they finish their channel, they go, "We're going to raid someone that's not that big," and they all came to us. I was bigging up the podcast, but whether or not they're listening, they're probably too busy just going, "Oh, wanker."
Well, we haven't looked at the stats, have we? We were at 30 people or something. I know our Instagram was flying at 45.
Yeah, I'll have a look now, boys. I'll do a little live. Hang on, let's have a look.
I think we need to move this on, man. This is really. I'm bored of what we're talking about. So let's start with the news. So we've got Boyd's news.
I've got one positive thing first.
Okay.
No corrections.
Yet
for this from last week.
Yeah, I think once I'd made my blunder and I fixed it, I think that was pretty much we completed Formula 1 knowledge.
You've been a saint ever since.
Saints. Colour Saints. Go on then.
No, you confuse me now. It's science.
Science.
We've continued to watch Drive to Survive again. Vicky's fully into it now. She's watching sort of 2 episodes a night, and it's actually really good because I've been seeing it through a different lens, which we'll come on to later on. So before we do the news, I am going to tee up what's going to be covered in today's episode. So we now have a format, and it's pretty boring. It's like every other podcast. It's going to start with the news. We're going to talk about that. Then, we've got a special guest, apparently. Is that right, Ben?
We have a special guest.
I didn't know we had a special guest this week. We've got 2 special guests.
It's a special guest game.
No, hold on. There's 2. I'm looking at the show notes. We've got a special guest, which I didn't know about. And then afterwards, my brother, James, friend of the show, is actually going to come on and be a guest host for the game. So he's taken my main job away from me. And then we're going to. That's
why you're not liking this episode, mate. You feel a bit like stripped.
I do, maybe a bit like
no power.
Well, the problem is if the game's really good, and we know it's going to need a good name. That's the main factor in a good game.
Well, that's all that matters. The game could be shit as long as the name's good.
What happens though if this game's so good and the name of the game's so good? You out of business here, or what?
Mate, you dodged a bullet, right? So I'm at work talking to James. For people listening to the show, James and I work together, and James says, "I want to do this game," and then he said to me, "I've got this really good idea for a game. It's called Boyd or Bullshit." Right. And the idea of the game was he'd say something you've done, and we had to guess whether it was true or not.
Yeah, but it's not going to be Formula One.
It was nothing to do with Formula One. And then once he gave me a couple of examples, I was like, "Yeah, literally, Boyd will never do the show again."
Yeah, exactly.
So I protected you.
Bury me.
Absolutely protected you. So I don't know what the game's about, but we'll come on to that, and then we're going to finish with our a really popular feature in the show, which is the great debate. And I'll tee that up later on. So I'm going to hand over now to Ben, who's going to bring us the news.
Well, the first piece of news, and I think this might lead on to a better conversation rather than just going, well, that was something that happened in Formula One this week. Lewis Hamilton, Sir Lewis Hamilton, he turned down a role in Top Gun 2 because of his F1 commitments.
I read about this.
Yeah.
Apparently he saw Cruise, and Cruise is a massive fan, and he was like, look, can I get in one of your films? You know, that's Lewis.
He's not American.
Yeah. So he's like,
English.
I want to get in one of your films, right? I want to get in one of your films. And he said, even if I'm like just the janitor or I'm sweeping floors or something, I want to be in it.
That's the same thing.
Yeah, and Cruise has gone, I'll let you be a pilot in it. So it's pretty big. It's a pretty big little role.
And then he sent it down.
Yeah, he couldn't do it.
That's a bit harsh, isn't it? He's gone out of his way, Tom Cruise, to pull a few strings, and Lewis Hamilton's gone, actually, mate, too busy.
Snubbed him.
He was worried about him being the best pilot, wasn't he? I mean, he's 7-time world champion. He's probably worried about his little MIG career.
I mean, it's a worry. I think this is the, there was no Formula One Grand Prix on this week. So I think the fact we're talking about something that probably happened about, I mean, when did they film Top Gun? It's like, what, 2 years ago? 3 years ago. So we're covering 3-year-old news.
We've only
Bear in
just
mind,
found out
news, Ben, is supposed to be new.
No, this only came out on last Tuesday after we recorded this news. Otherwise, I would have spoken about
Ben
it
just goes on Google and types in F1 news and just picks
That's what I do. Of course I do. What I was going to do. If you go onto YouTube and look at the news, it's
Lewis Hamilton was paintballing last week.
Did you check this one though, Ben?
Yeah, this is on Sky Sports. But you go on, if you look up F1 news anywhere, it'll be like Toto Wolff breaks silence on Sergio Perez replacing Lewis Hamilton, and then you look at it, and it's just Toto going, there is no basis for this rumor. I have never spoken to Sergio Perez about driving for Mercedes. And that's why I put it in the news, so I could go on to that.
I thought it was quite funny news, some people might not have known that, Ben. So,
well, what would you, okay, if
I would have gone, if I was listening to this podcast, I would have gone, oh, really? Did he? I would have been all shocked. So I thought your news was all right, mate.
All shocked. Well, okay then.
Mum, he was meant to be in a film.
Listener reactions.
People pausing the podcast. Why did you know about that?
That's the type of news we're dishing out. Things you could stop the podcast going, Mum, you won't believe this.
You've got to listen to this.
Here's something to
F1 commitments didn't do it.
Wait for it. 7 minutes in.
Have a listen. Have a think about what F1 drivers you'd like to see in famous Hollywood sequels.
What would you have George Russell in?
Oh, he'd be in sort of like Love Actually or something, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
He'd be the geezer out the front with the cards, wouldn't he? I really want to leave Williams. He's like shushing people going, I really want to join Mercedes, and the carol music's going on at the back. Like, do you know what I mean? Then Sonoda would be in just like some little I don't know. Actually, I don't know. I'm not going to say it. I don't know.
Yeah, all right.
What were you about to say? Something racist then? But
no, I think he was. He
was about to say Tokyo Drift is what he was going to say. It's the only film he could think of.
Sergio Perez.
Anything to do with
Last
driving.
Samurai. No.
Sergio Perez has been in a film, I think. Oh no, he's in Forza Horizon 4. He's a section in Forza Horizon 4 where you race him, and he doesn't race the Formula 1 car. He races Hoonigan Cosworth, weirdly, which isn't a Formula 1 car. Great. Zac Brown's got a cameo, everyone.
This I absolutely love, and the reason why I love it is because there's two possibilities in this, and it's been on my mind all week. So Zac Brown is on Cameo, so you can get the CEO of McLaren to send you a stupid message that you asked him to write, and it's like, and it isn't very expensive based on Cameo.
£7.
It's like, how much?
£7. It's one of the cheapest guys on Cameo.
£7?
Yeah, I was going to get everyone one, but then I went camping, so I didn't bother.
Well, we should get him to do the introduction to the podcast. We could get like a podcast.
I think Boyd could probably do it in
certified.
I could probably do it anyway, to be honest, Sean.
Go on, go.
Hey, Zac Brown, and today we've got Bradley Keenan and Ben Mills. We've got these two kind of guys on the show. It's just going to be awesome.
Is Heath Ledger from Batman? Apparently,
yeah.
It's just like less.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, look, I'm not that good, all right. So
just change the name.
Yeah.
So either two things has happened. No, it must be now. I know it's £7. I thought it was £300. So
Nice.
Either he was trying to do a little slide to make some money, a little bit of retirement fund, or his marketing department were like, "This is cheap marketing. If we get him doing Cameo, people share him on Instagram. McLaren gets exposure. Is it really £7?"
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna look now.
Subscribe now. Put the link in the bar. Swipe up and subscribe.
That doesn't make any sense.
It's £7. But I think it is, like you said, it's a marketing thing. It's like the more people that they share him, and then they get McLaren shared. Zac Brown's just probably what he wants to get more famous instead of being famous for guys as Alonso. I'm trying to find Coke Zero. Zac Brown Cameo. Yeah. Cameo celebrity video featuring Zac Brown, £7.
Yeah, but is it actually him doing it?
Brad's
I know that's
flabbergasted by the £7, didn't you?
No, I just think there must be some kind of
£7.
It's just
surely he's got stuff to do that doesn't involve going on Cameo and recording messages for £7.
Well, he's never in the paddock anymore. Like I said
£7 for a message.
He's doing other stuff behind the scenes.
No, it's £208. Why are you getting £7?
Message £7. Message £7.
Look, can we stop having Zac Brown wars?
I'm literally looking at it now. It says £208. Hold on. Bit personalised video, £208.
Oh, well, I just want a message.
What's
We've
a message?
just lost 10 followers from you two having Zac Brown wars.
And then
come back.
I didn't go any further than going on the homepage. Zac Brown, £7.
Hold on a minute. We can book him as a guest for £1,660. It's a live video.
Not worth it, mate. Not fucking worth it.
No, mate.
Not,
save your pennies.
Do you reckon?
No, I think we could get.
Hold on a minute. Here's a game. It's a little pre-game before James's game. There's a few people on here. We're going to play higher or lower based on what they're charging on Cameo, and we're going to keep it Formula One related. No, get off there, Ben.
Where's the source coming from here, though? You or Ben? Because it's very opposite.
£7.
I don't know I think there might just be a WhatsApp message or something, Ben. So I'm going to give you.
It's a shame. Why would you want a WhatsApp message from him? That could be from anyone.
I know.
This is Zac Brown here.
What do you reckon? Jenson Button, more expensive or less expensive than Zac Brown?
More expensive.
Yeah, more. He's driver. He's like.
Yeah,
he weren't really a legend.
He's wealthy as fuck.
Yeah, I'm going to say higher.
I've got Zac Brown at 208. I don't know where Ben's getting £7
well, it's
from. Jenson Button 248.
Well, there you go, £40 more.
And then Chris Medland, the F1 journalist.
Yep.
Oh, he's got to be higher than Zac Brown. No, I bet he's lower. £58.
£25.
Fuck. Let's get him on.
Bargain. We've got to get him on. He could bring some credibility to this podcast that we just don't have.
He might have some decent news.
Might have. We are struggling a little bit today in the news. I feel like
nothing's happened because it's on the break, so we kind of just.
Nothing happened last week. We just made a load of stuff up.
Well, we're going to make
fine.
loads of stuff.
Is the news actually official?
I mean, loads of really real stuff happened. All right, going back.
No, we've jumped around a little bit, so we've got one more bit of news to go. I think.
This is basically, I've already mentioned this already, but Toto Wolff has broken his silence on Sergio Perez replacing Lewis Hamilton at Mercedes. And Wolff claims Mercedes have never talked to Perez or any other driver as a replacement for Hamilton. It's not news, but that's just an example of the kind of news that you can get for Formula One. That was on the Telegraph.
I'm going to go out there and say that was the worst news we've done out of the
three
podcasts we've done. There was not a single bit of news in that.
I think was from 3 years ago.
No, that was from 3 years ago. Well, it was new information, but it wasn't news. Like if the news came out tomorrow, if it was a newspaper and they were delivering things that happened 3 years ago.
That came out on the 9th of August, that bit of news.
Zac Brown on Cameo, not sure that class is news.
To be fair, I feel like we had momentum in sort of episode 2. I feel like we've sort of like slowing down a bit.
Let's not talk about that.
Come on.
I'm looking at the dictionary definition of
Ben,
news
while you're on the
now.
news, the COVID happened as well.
I tell you what was a bit
newly received or noteworthy information, especially about recent events.
I got something funny to tell you. So a guy I used to work with, who is a listener of the show, actually, because I sent him the podcast and he assured me he did listen to it.
So he was a forced listener.
He's a forced listener. He thought news stood for news, entertainment, weather, and sport. I was like, well, what does the news stand for then? He was just like, no, news, entertainment, weather, and sport. And that's what we thought news was.
So that means it would be news, entertainment, weather, and sport. News, entertainment, weather, and sport would be the...
It would be never ending, yeah.
that was better than the news, Brad.
That was better than
the news. You've redeemed it. You've got us back. We've got some
and then
again.
The other bit of news was my wife was concerned that when we did the interview last week with Kevin, that I was punching down. Which I didn't know what punching down
Kevin was punching at us. He was very aggressive.
He was quite aggressive. But when we did the interview, she listened to it and she said she thought I was punching down on someone at work.
You were a bit,
You did upset him a little bit.
Yeah, you were. You
with help from me, probably.
But you,
I mean, the
guys,
questions weren't bad.
You were the ones that were just slagging off.
Don't lose sleep over it, Brad.
All right, we need to move this on. It's not.
We're
losing momentum in this podcast.
Well, we're not. Right, so.
It's crappy news from Ben.
Actually, this special guest, I don't know if they're going to come on, but it was kind of a thought that maybe the guy who organises the champagne at Formula One events is going to come on, or at least send us a message.
So basically, what happened was you were going to pretend to be a champagne guy, and then you just could be asked to plan it. So you put it in the show notes. You didn't deliver it.
I could just be a French guy.
That would be a very interesting interview as well, wouldn't it? Like, what sort of questions are we firing?
This is based on you guys thinking the idea of everyone getting on the podium.
What bottle sprays the most?
Exactly. I think the Magnum, obviously.
Yes.
But you wanted to blow little bubbles at him. But yeah, I was hoping he would write in or come back on the podcast, but he's not interested.
So, but what happened? You went camping at the weekend.
I went camping.
Didn't do any prep.
Didn't do any prep.
Sounds like me, to be honest, Sean.
Yeah, exactly. But
I mean, prep more.
I'm sure he could come on later at a later date.
So look, are we closing the news off now? Are we officially
done with the news?
We're done with the shit news.
So the news.
There's nothing happened.
The news was there was no news.
Yeah, nothing's happened. We're on a break.
I can only talk about things from Drive to Survive season 1 because I'm kind of refreshing. So I can talk a lot about that. I tell you what I would like to talk about actually before we move on. What the fuck is the deal with the rich energy drinks guy?
Jesus,
like
Christ,
what is like? I was googling it and I was trying to work out like is he for real? Like, I've never heard of rich energy drinks in my life. I've never seen it in a shop.
Beard and that for the Haas team when he puts 35 million in or something, didn't he?
No, he doesn't. He says he's going to, and then he pulls it out when they don't do very well.
But did he pull like the best marketing scam? Because he basically said he'd give him 35 million, got on Netflix, got his brand all over the place, and then basically paid them, I think, next to nothing.
Yeah. Their website's down at the moment, so.
But is it a real drink? And are they a real company?
I've never seen it anywhere.
Save that for the news next week. That one, isn't it?
Well, I'm looking it up now. The best way to go is Company's House. Go straight.
That's the one where Steiner loses it, isn't it? When he starts.
He only got incorporated in 2021, so it would have been last season before the episode of weird.
It's proper weird, and he's got that like nerd thing about him where not a nerd. Yeah, probably.
It's that
just a dweeb. He's got that weird thing about him where he's got that weird beard. It's like wiry beard.
And then John Story, right?
It's just so bizarre, and then he doesn't give him the money. I was just
googling I've just actually watched that, Brad. I'm rewatching. I've just gone on season 2. It's that episode when they reveal the new car, and it's like the black car in it. Is that it? And he's like, it looks fast and all that, and then it's just fucking. It was weird.
I know there's been lots of controversy with Rich Energy on one of the motorbike companies racing, one of the motorbike racers things. They were sponsoring them, and he just pulled all the sponsorship. Like out of nowhere.
He pulled the same move.
He pulled the same move, and he posted. The bike people posted that on Instagram. We have never had any dealings with William's Story. For him to say he's pulling the sponsorship off our bike doesn't really connect with any of our contracts. Our contracts were with a different company that he has no ownership of. And then Rich Energy have gone on their Instagram, we are not sponsoring this bike team. And then the other company that's saying they are Rich Energy that are sponsoring, and they go, we do sponsor this thing. So I think he's a bit of a like...
Maybe that's his little thing. He, like Brad said, he swoops in, gets a bit of like sort of internet action and gets the brand out there, then he bins it off. Billionaire energy.
I just can't help but think it's a scam. Like his beard looks like a beard you'd buy from a joke shop. So like maybe he is just it's like a talented Mr. Ripley situation. He just got the
dress
beard.
job, yeah, Sanctos.
And his face looks like he's got jaundice. But they say that they didn't sponsor him, but I'm seeing loads of pictures of the bike with Rich Energy all over it. So they must have done.
So William Story was a defendant in a case brought by White Bikes against Rich Energy for copyright infringement. In finding against Story and his co-defendants, the judge said that he was not a credible or reliable witness and that he had a tendency to make impressive statements which, on further investigation or consideration, were not quite what they seemed. So, yeah, I think we're right. He's a bit of a shyster.
I think we need to get our sponsorship on something.
I think we should get William Story on the podcast.
What, free?
He'd probably do it. He'd probably charge us 35 million quid, though.
Apparently, he was trying to buy Sunderland Football Club as well. But,
he's after everything.
The claim doesn't stack up. But he tried to buy it, and then like when they actually looked into the finances, it wasn't there. So I think he might just be like a bit of a.
You'll see him on season 5 of Drive, and he'll have like a clean shaved face, like trying to new identity, just like trying to get one more in when he like little scam. I recognise you. Nah, did you used to have a beard? Nah.
He used to be. Apparently, he's a professional footballer. He played for QPR.
Oh, what
and a professional gambler and a tobacco farmer in Zimbabwe.
So he's just full of shit, basically. Yeah, I think he tells lies, gets attention. We all had friends like that when we were younger.
Yeah.
And then runs off.
When they get called out on it. Yeah. So yeah. That was Rich Energy news.
Yeah, I feel like we've just gone back to the news, actually, haven't we?
Well, yeah. But that guy.
Yeah, I felt we have sort of gone back into this. I think what we need to do next week for next week's episode, because I feel like we might be losing guests at this rate, is we need to do more prep. Because Ben has basically Googled F1. The first 3 things he's found, he's dropped in, and they're the things we're going to talk about. No one read it, so we had no funny views on what we were going to talk about, and then we digressed.
That's the main point. Like F1.
Yeah, but mate, that is the joke, isn't it? You know, we ain't serious. We're joking. It's Formula Fun.
But that was the only bit of criticism I got from someone. Well, the criticism I sent to you, or the compliments. They said we need to be a bit like just to have a bit more information, like interesting information.
Oh yeah, I got slagged as well for that. I got that driver's name wrong. He called me out. He goes, "One of your mates got the driver wrong." I was like, "Yeah, that was me."
What driver did you get wrong?
That when you were doing the still can't say it.
Mazepin.
The one that got all annoyed and said, "You got to change my car," and then he was still.
Oh yeah, he goes, "You gave Mick the better car." Yeah, then he got kicked out for being Russian.
Exactly. Can you put extra nitros on my car? Still lose every week. He was just shit, mate, from the word go.
Yeah, he was also a bit handsy, wasn't he?
Shit pan, mate.
Handsy? What does that mean?
A bit handsy. He got done for like filling up some girl in a club on Instagram, filming it. This is before he.
The Russian guy.
Yeah, this is before he started racing for Haas. Like it was like
but they were all right with that, but they were just like they were.
No, he's Russian. Get him out. They wanted him out.
He was rude though, wasn't he? I mean, you got Mick Schumacher going, "Thanks, guys, great week. Thank you, the car was great," and he's just like, "The car's shit. Put better tires on and all that." And shit, mate. Wow me up.
Was that a Russian impression?
No, I don't know what it was. It was just I just didn't like him, to be honest.
Did he rub you up the wrong way?
Yeah, it's boring, that one.
Ben's hair is basically the same as his hair, though.
I've got Mazepin's hair. Mazepin's hair.
Yeah, for anyone listening, Ben's hair looks more. It looks white.
He's got been out in the sun for 6 days.
Yeah, I mean, it's just gone mad, isn't it? I feel like it looks like you bleached it even more. And the beard. Has the beard gone a bit as well?
No.
All right, fine.
Camping.
We've still got. I think we've even got next week without racing, so we're gonna have to really delve deep with the news. But I think we'll have a few more contracts.
If I'm honest. Yeah, I need F1 back in my life ASAP. But I'll have my PlayStation as well, so that will sort of keep me busy for a minute.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I've been watching Drive to Survive again, so I've got plenty of fresh opinions I didn't spot the first way round, which we're going to cover off in the debate. But should we go over to the game? Because I think we might need to bring someone else in who's definitely done some prep.
Everybody has a target on their backs next year.